Singer Bob Marley, his reggae music known far beyond its roots in Jamaica, died in a Miami hospital today after a long battle against cancer.
In the annals of music history, few figures are shrouded in as much mystique as Bob Marley. Beyond the infectious rhythms and revolutionary spirit of his songs lies a tapestry of undisclosed tales surrounding his untimely departure from this world. This video embarks on a quest to explore the veiled narratives and unanswered questions about the death of reggae's most iconic son. Join us as we sift through the shadows to uncover facets of Bob Marley's demise that have remained concealed for over 4 decades. The rise of a legend, Bob Marley's early years. The story of Bob Marley is a testament to the power of music and its ability to transcend the humblest of beginnings. Born on February 6, 1945, in 9 Mile, a small Jamaican village, Robert Nesta Marley emerged into a world of stark contrasts. His mother, Cedella Booker, was a young Afro-Jamaican woman of just 18 years, while his father, Captain Norval Marley, was a much older white Jamaican of English heritage. This mixed-race lineage would cast a complex shadow over Marley's early life, subjecting him to ridicule within the rigidly stratified society of Jamaica. Yet, Marley wore his identity with a sense of detached pride, embracing his black heritage and displaying an unshakable indifference to the scorn he faced. Marley's childhood was steeped in the sort of poverty that is almost inconceivable to the Western mind. The lack of basic amenities such as running water and electricity in his home was a testament to the daily struggle for survival in rural Jamaica. Despite these hardships, or perhaps because of them, Marley's indomitable spirit began to take root. His mother's resilience in the face of adversity and her unwavering support provided the bedrock upon which his aspirations would grow. At the tender age of 15, Marley took his first definitive steps toward musical immortality. He formed a band known as the Wailers with his friends Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. Together, they started experimenting with various musical styles, combining elements of rocksteady and reggae. Their sound was a new and exciting syncretism that captured the imagination of audiences beyond the shores of Jamaica. The 1960s were a time of transformation for Marley. His music began to reflect the shifting social and political landscapes of the era. In 1967, a significant pivot occurred when Marley converted to the Rastafarian faith, a movement that would deeply influence his music and message. The Rastafarian culture, with its Afrocentric ethos and spiritual depth, resonated with Marley and became a central theme in his songs. As the 1970s dawned, the Wailers' collaboration with producer Lee Perry resulted in a revolutionary sound that would define a genre. Their album, Catch a Fire, opened international doors, leading to tours in the United States and the United Kingdom. The band's follow-up album, Burnin', cemented their place in music history with anthems like Get Up, Stand Up and the iconic I Shot the Sheriff, later covered by Eric Clapton. Stirring the soul, Marley's music and its revolutionary echo. The music of Bob Marley is not merely a collection of sounds, but a resonant call that stirred the souls of the oppressed and the hopeful alike. His work, emerging from the depths of struggle, quickly became the anthem of the disenchanted and the downtrodden, not just in his native Jamaica, but across the globe. Marley's songs were imbued with a revolutionary spirit, speaking to the aspirations of freedom and the quest for human dignity. This was the music that dared to dream, to challenge, to inspire. Marley's artistry flourished during a time of significant social and political upheaval. The 1970s were rife with conflict and change, and Marley's music provided a soundtrack for this transformative period. His lyrics, profound and piercing, addressed issues of systemic injustice, poverty, and the yearning for freedom. It was a voice that resonated with the masses who saw in him not just a musician, but a prophet of change. The power of Marley's music lay not only in its lyrical depth, but also in its stylistic innovation. Reggae, with its offbeat rhythms and bass-driven sound, was the perfect vehicle for his message. It was music that one could feel physically, a pulsating force that commanded the body to move and the heart to feel. Each song was a tapestry woven with threads of resistance and hope, a narrative set against the backdrop of Marley's Rastafarian beliefs and his unwavering commitment to social activism. Marley's musical journey was marked by several seminal albums that would cement his legacy. Natty Dread, Rastaman Vibration, and Survival were more than just collections of tracks. They were political statements, calls to action, and affirmations of African identity. Songs such as War, which quoted a speech by Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie, and Africa Unite underscored his vision of global solidarity and unity. The international acclaim of Marley's work was reflected in the diverse audiences he attracted. From the slums of Kingston to the bustling streets of London, his music found a home. His live performances were electrifying experiences that transcended mere entertainment. For many, attending a Bob Marley concert was akin to a spiritual awakening, an engagement with a force that spoke of rebellion and redemption. His music was a refuge for those who felt marginalized by the mainstream narrative. Marley's influence extended beyond music. He became a cultural icon whose impact was felt in the realms of fashion, language, and identity. His distinctive style, characterized by dreadlocks and Rastafarian colors, became symbols of a countercultural movement. His patois-rich lyrics introduced Jamaican Creole to the world, furthering the reach of his island's culture. Crossroads and culture, the Rastafarian influence on Marley. Bob Marley's music was a river fed by many streams, but none so significant as the Rastafarian movement, which infused his work with a spiritual and cultural potency. The Rastafari faith, born from the black resistance movements in Jamaica, was not merely a religion to Marley, it was a worldview, a philosophical compass that guided his life and art. Through Rastafari, Marley found a conduit for his message, a framework through which he could address the social injustices and existential questions that pervaded his thoughts. Marley's conversion to Rastafarianism in the late 1960s marked a turning point in his life. The movement, with its roots in the coronation of Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia and the prophecies of Marcus Garvey, provided Marley with a rich tapestry of symbols, allegories, and historical narratives. These elements became central themes in his music, shaping his lyrics and providing depth to his melodies. The lion, the colors of red, gold, and green, and the sacred herb cannabis were more than just motifs in his songs. They were the insignia of his beliefs and the emblems of his cultural identity. The philosophy of Rastafarianism, with its emphasis on Pan-Africanism and the return to the African homeland, resonated deeply with Marley. His music became a vessel for these ideas, a means of awakening a collective African consciousness among his listeners. Songs like Exodus and Africa Unite were calls to this awakening, urging those of African descent to recognize their heritage and the bonds that tied them to their ancestral land. Marley's music was a clarion call to the African diaspora, a reminder of their common origin and shared destiny. Rastafarianism also provided Marley with a lens through which to critique the Western world's materialism and moral decay. The faith's ideals of living a life uncorrupted by Babylon, the Rastafarian term for the Western society, were evident in Marley's rejection of consumerism and his advocacy for a more natural, spiritual way of living. This philosophy found expression in songs like Babylon System and Rat Race, where Marley condemned the greed and competitiveness of modern life. Triumph and Tragedy, the climax of Marley's career. Bob Marley's career was a soaring trajectory of artistic brilliance and global impact, marked by milestones that would forever change the landscape of music. The latter part of the 1970s saw Marley ascend to the zenith of his musical journey, his voice becoming the rallying cry for change and a symbol of hope for millions. The release of the album Exodus in 1977 was a defining moment, with tracks like One Love and Jamming capturing the collective consciousness of the era. Marley's music was more than a mere reflection of the times. It was a guiding light, pointing the way to a brighter future. The triumphs of Marley's career were numerous. His band, Bob Marley and the Wailers, became synonymous with reggae, bringing the genre to an international audience and elevating it from the margins to mainstream success. His concerts were legendary, transcending the realm of entertainment to become gatherings of solidarity for those fighting against injustice. The One Love Peace Concert in 1978, where Marley brought together two opposing political leaders on stage, was a powerful testament to his influence and commitment to peace. Marley's achievements were recognized around the world. He was awarded the United Nations Peace Medal of the Third World in 1978, acknowledging his efforts to promote peace and equality through music. His reputation as a musician and a champion of the oppressed was solidified. His albums continued to garner critical and commercial success, with Survival in 1979 and Uprising in 1980 being hailed as masterpieces that encapsulated his political messages and artistic vision. But the triumphs of Marley's career were shadowed by personal tragedy. In 1977, Marley was diagnosed with acral lentiginous melanoma, a form of skin cancer. This diagnosis came at a time when Marley's career was at its peak, creating a paradoxical interplay of personal battle and public acclaim. Despite the gravity of his condition, Marley chose to continue touring and making music, his dedication to his art unwavering even in the face of his illness. The melody and the malady, the onset of Marley's illness. As Bob Marley's star burned brighter in the international sky, a stark contrast emerged from within, the onset of a life-threatening illness that would test the limits of his physical and spiritual endurance. The year 1977 brought with it a cruel twist of fate. Marley, the emblem of vitality and life through his music, was diagnosed with acral lentiginous melanoma, an aggressive form of skin cancer. It began innocuously enough, with a lesion under the nail of his toe, an anomaly that would lead to one of the most defining periods of his life. Marley's illness was a rare and misunderstood malady, particularly within the context of his African descent, where such ailments were not commonly discussed or recognized. The diagnosis came at a time when his influence was expanding, and his music was becoming the voice of emancipation worldwide. The melanoma was initially discovered following a football injury, a sport Marley played with passion and skill. The doctors recommended amputation of the toe to prevent the spread of the cancer, but for Marley, this was an option fraught with cultural and personal implications. Rooted in his Rastafarian beliefs, Marley viewed the body as a temple, and amputation was in direct violation of his spiritual doctrine. His faith, which had been the source of his strength and inspiration, now posed a profound dilemma in the face of his health crisis. The recommendation to disrupt the sanctity of his body was anathema to Marley's spiritual convictions, leading him to seek alternative treatments that aligned with his beliefs. The decision to forego conventional medical treatment in favor of his faith-based principles was met with bewilderment and concern from friends, family, and fans alike. Marley's choice reflected the complex interplay between his public persona as a musical icon and his private identity steeped in Rastafarian culture. He continued to tour and perform, the melodies of his music belying the malady that was slowly overtaking his body. As Marley's illness progressed, so did his determination to spread his message through music. His performances were imbued with a new layer of urgency and poignancy, as if each song carried with it a piece of Marley's essence, each lyric a testament to his resilience. The tours were grueling, and the illness took its toll, but Marley's commitment to his craft and his audience never waned. Against the grain, Marley's controversial health choices. In the face of a devastating cancer diagnosis, Bob Marley made a series of health decisions that would not only shape his final years but also spark debate and controversy long after his passing. His refusal to undergo traditional medical treatment for his acral lentiginous melanoma was a decision rooted deeply in his Rastafarian beliefs, which held the integrity of the body as sacrosanct. Amputation, the recommended treatment to halt the spread of the disease, was anathema to Marley, who viewed such an act as a desecration of his temple-like body. Marley's health choices were in stark contrast to conventional medical wisdom. He sought alternative treatments, including a controversial diet-based regimen under the care of Joseph Eisels in Germany, which focused on natural healing and holistic therapies. This decision was met with skepticism by many, seen as a denial of the proven medical interventions that could potentially save or at least prolong his life. Marley's adherence to his spiritual convictions over medical advice became a focal point for discussion on the influence of personal beliefs in healthcare decisions. As Marley continued to tour and produce music, his health inevitably declined. The grueling demands of his career did not wane, and he kept the severity of his condition shielded from the public eye. His inner circle watched with a mix of admiration and distress as Marley pursued his art with relentless passion, even as the cancer took a visible toll on his physique. He was running against the grain, challenging the norms of medical science, and paying the ultimate price for his convictions. The controversy surrounding Marley's health choices is emblematic of the broader debates on the intersection of culture, religion, and medicine. For Marley, the decision to reject conventional treatment was not just about personal health. It was a testament to his faith and the principles that had guided his life and career. It was a stand against the Babylonian system he so often critiqued in his music, a system that represented an oppressive and corrupt order that he had long stood against. The final curtain, Marley's last days in concert. Bob Marley's luminous journey, woven with threads of musical genius and spiritual depth, approached its twilight not with a whisper, but with a soul-stirring crescendo. His final days, though shadowed by illness, were marked by the same vibrancy and passion that characterized his life. The last curtain call of his career was a poignant farewell, though unbeknownst to the world, and even perhaps to Marley himself, that his final stage performance was indeed a parting gift. On September 23, 1980, Marley ascended the stage at the Stanley Theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Those in attendance were treated to a show that brimmed with Marley's legendary fervor. His performance was a tour de force of his greatest hits, a repertoire that now took on new layers of meaning against the backdrop of his health struggles. The concert was a microcosm of his career, a fusion of fervent energy, defiant lyrics, and unifying melodies. Songs like No Woman, No Cry and Redemption Song were delivered with a poignant intensity, as if Marley was imparting a piece of his soul to each listener. In the aftermath of the Pittsburgh concert, Marley's condition worsened. The melanoma that began on his toe had metastasized, spreading to his brain, liver, and lungs. His robust figure was now frail, his once indomitable stamina sapped by the relentless progression of the disease. Despite this, Marley's spirit remained unbroken. His resolve to fight was as much a part of his being as the music he created. In a testament to his enduring commitment to his craft and his fans, Marley was planning a world tour for his album, Uprising, a tour that would never come to fruition. As Marley's health declined, he sought the solace of his homeland, Jamaica. He traveled to Germany for a controversial treatment that eschewed chemotherapy in favor of holistic methods. Yet this, too, was unable to halt the advance of the cancer. The treatments in Germany, exhaustive and rigorous, were his final stand against the illness that would ultimately claim his life. The journey back to Jamaica was not to be. During a flight from Germany to his beloved island, Marley's condition deteriorated rapidly. The plane landed in Miami, Florida, where echoes of eternity, the posthumous influence of Marley's music. The physical departure of Bob Marley from the world stage did not signify the end of his influence. If anything, his passing amplified the reverberations of his music, sending waves of his revolutionary spirit across the globe. In the years following his death, Marley's legacy has only deepened, his music continuing to inspire new generations to strive for the ideals he championed: peace, love, and equality. Marley's voice, etched in the grooves of vinyl and the bits of digital recordings, remains as potent and relevant as ever. His album Legend, a posthumous compilation released in 1984, became the best-selling reggae album of all time, a testament to the undying appeal of his work. Songs like Buffalo Soldier and Could You Be Loved became anthems for the oppressed and soundtracks for the struggle against injustice around the world. Marley's impact transcended music. He became an icon of cultural identity, his image synonymous with the fight against oppression. His dreadlocks, Rastafarian colors, and distinctive voice became symbols of a movement that sought to challenge the status quo and uplift the downtrodden. The universal themes of his music broke down barriers, bringing together people of all races, nationalities, and creeds in a shared human experience. The posthumous influence of Marley's music has been felt in various realms of society. Politicians, activists, and artists have cited him as an inspiration in their work. His lyrics have been quoted in speeches, his songs covered by countless musicians, and his life story taught in academic institutions. His message of unity and resistance against tyranny continues to resonate, echoing through the halls of power and the streets of the world's cities. In Jamaica, Marley's legacy is a source of national pride, a symbol of the small island nation's outsized influence on the world's cultural landscape. His birthday, February 6th, has been designated Bob Marley Day, celebrated not only in Jamaica but by fans around the globe. His home in Kingston, now the Bob Marley Museum, is a pilgrimage site for those who seek to connect with the spirit of the man whose music moved the world. The echoes of Marley's music have also influenced the realm of social activism. His commitment to social justice and his Rastafarian faith continue to inspire movements that fight for the rights of marginalized communities. His calls for environmental stewardship resonate with urgency in an era of climate crisis. Marley's music has become a rallying cry for those who advocate for a better, more equitable world. Legacy and legends. The children of Bob Marley. The legacy of Bob Marley, like a mighty river, flows through the generations, shaping the landscape long after the initial source has ceased to spring forth. Marley's children, both biological and spiritual, carry the torch passed on by their iconic father, each contributing to the perpetuation of his musical heritage and the Rastafarian culture he championed. The Marley progeny are not mere echoes of their father, but individual voices that harmonize to amplify his message of peace, love, and social justice. With 11 acknowledged children, Bob Marley's family tree is as diverse and far-reaching as his influence. Each child, in their unique way, has woven strands of their father's ethos into their endeavors, whether through music, entrepreneurship, or activism. Ziggy Marley, the eldest son from his marriage to Rita Marley, emerged as a torchbearer of his father's musical legacy. As the leader of the Melody Makers, a group comprising several of his siblings, Ziggy has carved out a successful career, earning Grammy Awards and continuing the tradition of socially conscious music. Stephen Marley, another of Bob's sons, has also made significant waves in the music industry, not only as a performer but as a producer, collaborating with artists across various genres, further solidifying the Marley name in the annals of music history. His albums, such as Mind Control, showcase a deep understanding and respect for the roots of reggae while infusing contemporary elements that speak to a new generation. The Marley daughters are equally influential. Cedella Marley, a singer, author, and fashion designer, uses her platform to promote her father's music and message. She has also been instrumental in philanthropic efforts, notably involving the One Love Foundation, which focuses on youth, planet, and peace, causes deeply important to her father. Sharon Marley, not biologically Bob's own, but whom he adopted as his child, continues to preserve the Marley legacy through her involvement with the Melody Makers and other family initiatives. Rohan Marley, another of Bob's sons, has ventured into entrepreneurship, co-founding the organic coffee company Marley Coffee, and championing sustainable farming practices in Jamaica, thus honoring his father's respect for the land and the environment. Damian Marley, the youngest of the Marley sons, has perhaps the most distinctive voice, blending the reggae roots with hip-hop and modern beats, showing the world that the Marley influence is as adaptable as it is enduring. The Immortal Icon, reflections on Marley's enduring legacy. Bob Marley's departure from the physical realm did little to diminish the force of his presence across the world. His legacy, much like the man himself in life, continues to grow, reaching into corners of society and aspects of culture that extend far beyond the roots of reggae or the bounds of Jamaica. Marley has become an immortal icon, a symbol of resistance and resilience whose spirit transcends the confines of mortality. Marley's music remains a universal language, speaking truths about love, freedom, and humanity that are as relevant today as they were when first uttered. His songs have become hymns for the oppressed and anthems for those who dream of a better world. The enduring relevance of his work is evident not only in its continued popularity, but in its invocation at moments of political significance and social movements across the globe. The Rastafarian philosophy that Marley espoused, with its emphasis on peace, unity, and a return to natural living, continues to inspire those who seek a deeper connection with the world around them. His message of one love serves as a call to overcome division, to recognize the interconnectedness of all life, and to strive for a world in which love triumphs over hate. Marley's impact on music cannot be overstated. He took reggae from the margins of music to the mainstream, influencing artists in genres as diverse as rock, hip-hop, and world music. The rhythms and messages of his songs have been embraced and reinterpreted by musicians around the world, ensuring that his influence is woven into the fabric of contemporary music. Beyond music, Marley's influence is evident in the realms of fashion, language, and lifestyle. His distinctive style and dreadlocks have become iconic, adopted by those who see in Marley a figure of authenticity and non-conformity. His lyrical use of Jamaican patois helped bring the language and culture of his homeland to an international audience. Marley's commitment to social justice has made him a figure of political import as well. His music has been a source of motivation and solidarity for those fighting against injustice, and his life story is a testament to the power of music to effect change. The Bob Marley Foundation continues this work, supporting initiatives that aim to empower communities and foster social change.